Hey, folks, this clip is brought to you by Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey from Lockstill Distillery. Make your own luck, just like Tennessee football's fast paced Rattle and Snap offense with Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey. All right. We are back. I guess this isn't really a midweek segment, is it, Zach? This is more of like an end of week segment. It's 4 o'clock on Friday. And we threw this on here because there was, I don't know if this is an emergency necessarily, but a really prime opportunity to dunk on the University of Alabama came up, and we just had to take it, right? You got to take it when the iron's hot. You got to strike, right?
Yeah, there hasn't been too many opportunities to really give it to Alabama over the last 15 years. I mean, I guess it's been a while, but they provided plenty of opportunities over the last few months, especially the last week.
I mean, what a dumpster fire. And here's also the truth. It's Cinco de Mayo, which means there's a margarita in this hand, which means the takes are going to be real good.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, it's your birthday, Zach. Happy birthday.
It is. Yeah. I quit counting them a while back, but yeah, it's
we'll keep that to ourselves. The age
there.
But we can get right to it. So the University of Alabama baseball team gets caught up in this scandal that started with, I don't know if it was Monday, Tuesday, something. Tuesday, it probably would have been Tuesday. No, it would have been over the weekend because it was a game against LSU, right?
Mm-hmm.
So over the weekend, game against LSU, this news comes out that betting apps in Ohio had halted all betting on Alabama baseball, I believe, is what had happened. It was like an emergency halt because of suspicious activity. And then everybody kind of goes, uh-oh, what is that? And then some time passes, and now all of the details, the alleged details have come out. And the alleged details led to the firing of Alabama's baseball coach yesterday being Thursday the 4th. And the coach gets fired, and now from a bunch of different sources, ESPN, The Athletic, I saw AL.com, they've all kind of written about it. Essentially what had happened was that the baseball coach had sort of the news that was out there was that one pitcher was starting for him. And then he knew obviously that he had made a lineup change and that pitcher wasn't starting, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Zach. You were just telling me this. But another pitcher was going to start. And he called somebody at that point who was at a casino in Ohio, in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, at the Reds baseball stadium.
Which, irony of ironies, the Reds baseball stadium where Pete Rose, famously lost his ability to ever play Major League Baseball again,
or go in the Hall of Fame, or any of that,
or anything. But he calls up the Alabama's baseball coach, allegedly calls his friend at the casino, and they place a giant bet on LSU winning the game because the pitcher that was supposed to start is not starting, and nobody knew that except for them. And then they placed the bet, and I would bet it was flagged because it was an inordinately large bet. Although I don't know, did they release the figures?
I haven't seen the figures, but I know it was a pretty substantial bet because it was in person, and apparently there's limitations on the apps with college baseball, how much you can bet. And forgive me if any of that is incorrect as far as betting goes, but apparently you can place these larger bets in person. So that's why he was actually at the casino that's attached to the Cincinnati Reds baseball stadium.
Well, here's what I want to know from that is, how much money did this guy just lose his job for? Because obviously this is a dumpster fire for the University of Alabama, especially after the year that they've had. The football program falls off as much as a football program will fall off under Nick Saban. They lose to Tennessee. Also, check my background. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. And here's what, I have to say about the football program at Alabama. If you're just listening, it's the Tennessee Alabama football game, the aftermath. But after the year that they've had, this is a beautiful little cherry on top. Hopefully everything is capped off by a really bad season for Alabama football. But I just want to know, for comical reasons, how much this guy tried to win and lost his entire life for.
I mean, it couldn't have been that much because they do say the line for that game. Like the guy was a high school baseball coach that is a friend of the Alabama baseball coach, or however they know each other. They've never set a specific identity, at least on the record. He places this bet on the LSU money line and a parlay, is what was reported by Darren Ravel, Action Network. And apparently it was like minus 245 is what LSU was the favorite on the money line. So you got to put down quite a bit of money to even win any money on that bet. And they won, LSU won 8-6. For me, I don't think that this is the Alabama coach like going out there and throwing games by any means. I think he's just a complete idiot and has buddies that he wanted to tip them off because who knows what's going to happen in a baseball game. Probably a pretty good feeling he wasn't going to win that game, but Alabama kept trying. They got down 8-1 in that game and then only lost 8-6. So it's not like he, pulled the reins back on his guys or made foolish lineup decisions. He's just an idiot for thinking he was going to give a friend a tip about something and think that nobody's going to find out. So I'm guessing he probably had no clue that this was even possible that it could happen.
So there's a possibility that this bet wasn't for the coach. It was just for his bro. It was just for hey, my guy, place this bet on my team because our starting pitcher isn't starting. There's a chance. And I mean, a minus 245, you would have to bet a really significant amount of money to win a large amount of cash for that. Oh my gosh. That's, God knows I don't feel sorry for the guy.
No. My theory, and this is just kind of my gut feeling on seeing this situation, is I don't think the bet was for the coach. I don't think he cared about, winning that bet or anything. I think he's made some friends that probably were giving him a little bit of pressure, like, hey, man, give us some inside info. Let us know, a little edge on some betting actions. Like, these are probably some like degenerate gamblers, because if you're driving to Cincinnati, and maybe the guy's from Cincinnati, I have no idea, but if you're going to the baseball park at Cincinnati just to place this bet in person so you can bet a more substantial amount of money based on a tip from the Alabama baseball coach, you've got to be pretty deep into some gambling issues, right? Like that's beyond just having fun. Like me, you, and Austin text about various lines, like not huge amounts of money, nothing like that. And it's not like you're going to lose your house if you lose one of these bets. This guy seemed to be in a little deeper. So that's my theory on it. Either way, the Alabama coach is still a complete idiot. And with everything else that's went on with Alabama basketball over the last several months with the Brandon Miller situation and was it the transfer they were bringing in that was also arrested and guns and I think he had some possession of marijuana. Maybe I could be wrong on that. I can't remember exactly. It's been so much with Alabama, and then obviously right behind you, what happened at the football stadium with Neyland Stadium with Jermaine Burton, kind of slapping a female co-ed. Not been a good look for Alabama athletics over the past 6-8 months.
I mean, I can tell you this. The athletic director at the University of Alabama, his name's Greg Byrne. I can tell you exactly what he probably wants right now. A glass of whiskey. And you know what whiskey he could drink? There's a transition for you.
Yes.
Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. This segment is brought to you by our awesome friends at Rattle and Snap. Here's the bottle. Does this show up? There it is right there. Oh, no.
You just disappeared completely.
So I guess I can't show the bottle with the background. Well, the bottle is right there in the corner also. For folks watching the YouTube video, few things go better with a Tennessee sports victory than awesome whiskey. And I'm talking specifically about the awesome whiskey that is Rattle and Snap Tennessee Select Straight Whiskey. It's from Lock Still Distillery. It's their new Tennessee whiskey product line that is named after a long-forgotten game of chance. Rattle and Snap is a whiskey for those who make their own luck. And, I bet Scott Bohannon was thinking he was making his own luck. Putting that stupid bet down, and then he got what he deserved. There's a 4-year and an 8-year version of Rattle and Snap. What I tried to show the camera there that's not going to show up, I guess, is the 4-year version. It goes amazing in cocktails. It's also great straight out of the bottle and into a glass. Be classy, folks. Put it in a glass. Or don't. Who really cares? It's great both ways. Love it. Rattle and Snap is awesome. They've sponsored us for a while now. Just go get their whiskey. It's available in stores across the state of Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and Mississippi. For the folks that aren't Tennessee-based, you can get it there too. So run, don't walk. Go and get some Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey to drink to the downfall of Alabama sports, and follow them on Instagram at Rattle and Snap Whiskey. Thanks to them for sponsoring the segment and the show in general. Yeah, I mean that athletic department at Alabama now, have they taken the reins of complete dysfunction from Tennessee? Like this has really been a year
Well, I,
for
I feel
them.
like, to be fair, I feel like Tennessee handed that off to Auburn there briefly whenever they were
That's
going
true.
through all that stuff with Brian Harson and boosters, and even before Harson was uh, let go when they were trying to push him out, and Kevin Steele doing his thing with Gus Malzahn even back before that. There's been quite a bit of you know shady things going on down there too, and some dysfunction. So I feel like Alabama maybe took it from their in-state rivals this time.
I, whatever it was, it does seem like Tennessee has like sent the mojo down the interstate south to Alabama.
And yeah, I mean,
Um,
what's the worst thing that's happened to Tennessee this year? The South Carolina loss. I mean, those happen from
yeah,
time to time, getting knocked out of the Sweet 16 by an eventual Final Four team. I mean, that's not as bad as what happened to Alabama in the NCAA tournament when Brandon Miller just went stone cold. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like the terrible things are happening to Tennessee. Even the slow start to the baseball season has turned around, and Tennessee's one of the hottest teams in the country now.
yeah, and we're gonna see tonight exactly how they fare playing Georgia in just a little bit to start the weekend series down there in Athens. And please, dear Lord, beat those stinking barking losers. But
Worst fans in college sports.
oh, we've already established that if you
Yes.
listen to this week's full show. But uh, it really is just beautiful to see everything that's happened to Alabama. There's no school that deserves it more. They've sat up there and thought that they're very, very special and that they're great at everything and all, and they've just really been knocked down a peg. And it's been so gratifying to see all of this. It's hard to truly express how the last year has been as a Tennessee fan watching Alabama, because I mean, obviously with their basketball team had a hilarious downfall with uh, the NCAA tournament losing to San Diego State. I mean, come on, that was comical. And then it was great sort of karma for the whole thing with the we already said Miller. And then you go back to football and you have that over on them. But not only that, but they have the football game. You have the loss or the win over Alabama and the loss for Alabama to Tennessee. But then there was, like you said, they had a player smack a girl on the way out, get caught on camera doing it, and it's just been thing after thing after thing. And the main thing that has happened is that through all of that, Tennessee has not lost to the University of Alabama in any sports through that whole deal. You beat them in football, you beat them in basketball, you beat the lauded basketball team with Brandon Miller through all his controversy. He fought through it all. Well, he didn't fight through it enough to beat Tennessee, and you still have that over on them. What a year it has been to reflect on and just be like, to be able to look finally after the many years that Alabama has spent with such a great football team. They haven't been that great at other sports, but like, I mean, it's just what a joy this has been. So and we don't have to dwell on it that long. We got one more thing we're going to talk about, a transfer from the basketball team before we bounce. But anything else with this Alabama situation, Zach?
I mean, this just has to be a prelude to maybe the football team continuing to trend in their own direction, because you keep
Please.
you keep seeing Alabama pop up in these top 5 preseason polls just because they're Alabama. There's really no other reason for them to, because if you look at their schedule last season, you look at that Tennessee game, what is the score of the Tennessee-Alabama game if Bryce Young doesn't play and it's Jalen Milroe? Or the guy that
Blowout.
they just brought in from Notre Dame that left Notre Dame because they have a better quarterback in Sam Hartman, who I'm not completely sold on anyway, because I've watched that guy play in person a few times, and he just does not have the arm strength I think that he is necessary to thrive in major college football. But you can't replace Bryce Young. Like, he's a once in a generation type talent. The dude was special. There's no doubt about it. He's the only reason that game in Knoxville is not a blowout last season. So maybe they have quarterback trouble and they go just fail to win 10 games for the first time. And, since Saban's first year maybe at Tennessee.
Yep.
Oh,
I
I'm
believe
hoping,
so.
I mean, no Bryce Young. I don't think Alabama fans are realizing how special that dude was for them.
Believe me, I'm saying my prayers for all of that. We'll finish with this. Tennessee basketball, or I should say former Tennessee basketball point guard BJ Edwards is transferring away. He was a local kid and was basically going to be the backup point guard this coming season yet again. I think a lot of Tennessee fans in his freshman season were expecting him to play a lot more than he did, and he never did carve out a spot. He never really found his footing. Clearly, I think the coaching staff was just not super comfortable with whatever he was putting out there. And this is kind of a shame, not because I'm certain that Tennessee is losing a piece that's going to be an all-time great in the future. I don't know. The jury's kind of out there. We'll see how he does at another school. But you lost a local kid, and I always really, really hate that because you want that pipeline to stay as sort of clean and clear as possible. And just having a guy who was really, I mean, he was a bona fide 4-star guy, came in and people were really expecting things from him. And then not only does he really never play in that freshman year, but then he transfers. I don't love it, but I would put it this way. It was not fully unexpected.
Like, he wasn't. I mean, you would think this would be the guy that would step up in Ziegler's absence whenever the season starts, because we know Ziegler's not going to be there, right when the season starts. It's going to take him a little while to get back. They'll be cautious with him. It sounds like Edwards wasn't going to be that guy. So if you're not going to be the guy when Ziegler's not there, you're never going to be the guy. Yes, maybe I don't know. Do you think he's just not suited to play point guard? Maybe he's a better off-ball guard, or
it's hard to say because we didn't get to see him play enough.
the most he played was like 10 minutes against, I think, South Carolina was his season high.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'3", which is not, I mean, that's pretty standard point guard, shooting guard height. It's not overly tall. What's 188 pounds? I mean, he's not like out of the ordinary in that way.
Better size than Chandler.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they did or didn't see there. And like Barnes didn't really get questioned about a lot during the season. People just weren't hammering about it. Like, where's BJ Edwards? Where's BJ Edwards? So that we have an answer.
Well, how about this? Do you think maybe Rick Barnes just felt like he had to go get this guy because he was a 4-star in-state kid or from Knoxville, not just in-state, from Knoxville, and you have to go get a 4-star from Knoxville. You have no choice. And Barnes was like, you know what? Let's recruit the guy, sign the guy so we don't catch the bad PR hit. And then whatever happens after that. People will see maybe they didn't see what recruiting services saw to rate him as a 4-star. Now that does kind of go against the way Barnes operates. He doesn't really seem to care what people are going to think and that type of thing. So I don't know if that'd be a pretty bad hit though. You let, Kentucky or Duke, somebody else come in and grab a 4-star out of your backyard that you don't even try to recruit. That, I mean, it was better that it went this way, because if it went the other way, I think he would have got a lot more heat.
There would be a big difference if he were to go to a somewhat major program and excel. There would be a big difference between that and like when Drew Pember went. He went to UNC Asheville and scored 80 points a game. Yeah. I mean, he was an absolute star at UNC Asheville, but being a star at UNC Asheville in a much lesser league is one thing compared to playing at Tennessee in the SEC. But if BJ Edwards were to leave and go to like a major, like you said, a serious program and shine, that would hurt a lot, like a lot, I think.
Oh yeah, that would hurt. Not only losing an in-town kid, but then having somebody else develop him better than Barnes did.
Exactly. And the honest to God truth is, like I said, we didn't see him play enough to know exactly where that lands, where, how they feel about him, how he's feeling as a player, what exactly he's looking for. He may drop down and go to a lower level school. I'm not sure, but we're just gonna have to see. But we just wanted to cover just kind of everything that happened since the show on Monday, for a rare end of week segment. And now Zach is gonna go celebrate his birthday. I'm gonna go probably have another margarita. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. Happy birthday to Zach. Anything else for the good folks at home?
Yeah, I think that should do it. Let's go find that tequila, I guess.
Let's do it. All right. We will talk to y'all next week.
See you guys later.